All right, bet. We're going to run it back. How's everybody doing today? Good, good, good. One more time. How's everybody doing? All right. Thank you for coming. Y'all ready to learn some cool shit? All right, sweet. Now I'm not distracted. The ADD's out of the way. I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to learn basically how to take an athletic or active person from not knowing what's going on to figuring out exactly what's going on or finding that true root cause and creating a plan around that. Sound good to you guys? You sure? Oh, it's dead as hell. All right, so who am I? Oh, what the hell? Who am I? Dr. Aaron Goodsight. That's me playing rugby. That's Melissa. And that's our dog Tuna. We went through all that. We don't need to do it again. All right, what is Connect? I started in 2023 out of frustration. Like I said, I was at these clinics that were real strict on time. They said we got to the root cause. They said we got people lasting result, but that was bullshit, right? We did a worked up exam. It was cool, but we never looked at people's entire movement. So when somebody came in and said, "Hey man, every time I run, the medial portion of my knee hurts," right? We're like, "Oh, okay, cool." We treat the stuff around it, and they're like, "Yeah, I feel good." But guess what happens? 2 weeks later, they come back. They're fucking still hurting, right? That was one of the most frustrating things to me, and I felt like I was stealing people's money because we just have them coming back over and over and over again, right? And at that point, it feels unethical because are we actually doctoring or are we just cracking, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Right? And I don't know about y'all, but I didn't invest all this money and time to just be a back cracker. Could have gone to massage school for that, right? So, how do we do this? We assess people as a whole. We find and fix the exact root cause of their problem, and then we give them the tools to keep their problem away for the long term. I don't know how you guys feel about care plans. It's been up and down, right? Like and when I was younger, I'd be like, I don't know about that. Like asking people for all that money up front, like that could be unethical, right? But if you give them something to take care of themselves in the future, there's nothing more ethical than that, right? So they don't have to depend on you. You could spend $75 every week for the rest of your life, or you could spend one lump sum for 6 months of your life. Does that make sense? So we give them the tools to keep their problem away. How do we do it? We assess the person using something that I designed based on everything I've learned through strength and conditioning and my years through chiropractic. Um, I call it the Connect Code, but yeah. We do customized care plans. We have 60-minute appointments one-on-one where we split into two parts. 20 to 40 minutes of it is passive care where we do adjusting, soft tissue treatment. The other part, the rest of the appointments, so the other 20 to 40 minutes, we're going to do specific exercises that we film at the end and send the patient home with the videos to create a file for themselves so that they have a reference point. So, A, when they're working on their exercises, they don't just go blindly, they have things to remember. And B, once they're gone, they have that with them forever. Does that sound good? Make sense? Then our treatment style is we do a combination of a lot of things. I like to say the more tools in your tool belt, the more the more effective you can be, right? There's many ways to cook a chicken, and not everybody likes fried chicken, and not everybody likes Costco's rotisserie chicken. Make sense? So, be adaptable, know how to help people. But I use AK, diversified, soft tissue, scraping, ART, grass and cupping, biomechanical model, DNS, PRI, and traditional strength and conditioning, like weightlifting type, agility type stuff, and truly understanding the movement and what we're trying to accomplish, right? Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah.
So your 60-minute appointment, is that just like day one or continuing
Every day.
like yeah?
So the way, and I'll go through it, but the way our onboarding process starts is I start with a phone call. It's about 20 to 30 minutes where we truly understand what's going on with the person, what their pain points are, what their desires are, what their goals are, right? After that phone call, if they are a good fit for what we do, because not everybody is. Some people just want a crack, and that's okay, right? I have people I refer to for that.
Sorry, another question. Based on that phone call, how much information are you able to get off that phone call and how accurate is it when you see the patient?
Well, I ask my health questions, the health history questions, HPI. people, by the time people get to me, they're fed up with what they've been doing. So they know a lot of what doesn't work. Everything I know that doesn't work gives me clues me to everything that does work, right? You get a lot of information out of that phone call, right? Yeah, you get a lot. But the whole process is gaining information, right? And it's about building trust because the more people trust you, the more they will talk to you. And the more they talk to you, the more information you get. And the better you can help them. Okay. So we do that phone call. We then go into a 60-minute discovery visit, which is a lot of the things I'm going to cover today with figuring out that root cause. That visit is actually completely free. Reason being is because I want to know exactly I want to know that I can help you before we go forward with any other time or financial commitments. Does that make, because like how many times you go into an exam, they're like, oh, 250, 350, whatever. And they're like, oh, yeah, you have a subluxation at T12. Let me adjust you, right? Like, cool. Thanks. Helpful. um, I want to know exactly what's going on before, and then we go into our our eval, our paid eval and first treatment, where I like to say we dot the T's, cross the I's, or dot the I's, cross the T's, do like the orthos, neuros, and then treat. And once we understand what happened or how they respond to care, then we build our care plan, right? During that discovery visit, I do follow up with everything we talked about on the phone call and ask follow up questions if there was anything I didn't think I had. So, usually by the end of the discovery visit, we got some good information. Sometimes I talk to people after, like we'll jump on a phone call, they'll have more questions. But yeah, yeah, you're welcome. And I have intentional questions to really get certain things. Okay. All right. So, the principles of the Connect Code. The thoracic lumbar junction is a superhighway. As you can see here, when we look at our spine, right? You understand how facets work? Yeah. So when you get to the T12 L5, you go from the area that's better for rotation to an area that's better for flexion, right? We have our traps that insert in the TL junction. We have our lats. So we have our traps here that insert. Whoa. We have our traps that insert from the TL junction to the shoulders to the neck. We have our lats that insert from shoulder girdle, TL junction to SI joints. Then on the other side, we have our hip flexors that also insert in that same area. All right? Following me? Right? And that all connects to your limbs. Then, uh, deep core stabilizers and hip flexors are besties. What does that mean? So if we look at this image here, our hip flexors run from the spine to the leg just behind the deep core stabilizers. So if your core stability is not doing its job, for lack of better words, and not working, those hip flexors are going to start to take over, right? When you're doing like crunches, how many times are you like backs arching? You see people doing it like that, right? Or you do whatever it is. You're using your hip flexors, not the muscles that you're trying to use. Does it make sense so far? So then, rotational movements are life. Everything we do in life is rotation. So if we walk, it's a rotational movement, right? We drive, even if we're just moving our arms, it's a rotation. We turn our heads to look out of the back seat, it's a rotation. Rotation, rotation, right? Is that following me there? Flexion and extension is, yes, obviously part of it, um, but we get clues into how to treat that flexion and extension based on how we rotate. To follow up on that, if that TL junction, tripping, I was like, this don't look right. But if that TL junction is um, kyphotic or lordotic, right, and too much, they won't be able to glide and slide. Makes sense? Because now we have too much pressure where we talk about facet syndrome, yeah? Or like a flexion bias, okay? Then the body is a series of pulleys and levers. So if rotation is movement, we have a lever and we have pulleys specifically in like the hip flexors and the lats, right? If things are off, it's and muscles are tight on one side compared to the other, it's going to change the way our movement works. Do we understand that? Okay. Then finally, not finally, everything is connected. I have had people with ankle issues and it comes from their neck. I swear to God, it sounds weird, but I promise you it's not. But everything's connected. So you always want to look at the person's body as a whole. You don't ever want to just isolate on a single area. Okay? And the back door of that, or follow up on that, the pain point is the victim, not the culprit. If somebody comes to you and says, I have elbow pain, I have knee pain, I have neck pain, I have low back pain, and all you do is adjust the low back, you're missing. Following me still? We good? All right. So, how do we do it? This is the assessment portion of the Connect Code is probably the most important part. And this is where we figure out that root cause and look at the person as a whole. We are going to go through, we're going to go through all of this and we're going to actually have time to practice. So, when we start, we look at the person's posture. I use having an objective measure is one of the most important things you can do, right? Whether it's just videos, whether it's an assessment tool like posture screen or posture screen, or you have force plates or whatever it is, you want something that's objective that you can say, hey, this is what I'm finding, but also this is what this data that I have nothing to do with says. And those should align if you're doing your job right. Does that make sense? So I use videos as well as posture screen and squat screen. So anyway, and we'll look at all of that. So we check posture, we check overhead squat and push up, and or push up depending on the person's complaint. And then we look into a sports specific movement. For example, the other day I had a catcher, 12 or 13, his right hip. He was having a lot of right hip pain. Turns out every time he went from, you guys can't see me, but every time he went from like his position here, like his receiving position, to getting into his throw, it's supposed to be a pop like that. He was dropping his knee in, coming up, and then going. Figured out his knee was dropping in. It helped clue us in as to the area that we wanted to examine. Does that make sense? Okay. And then you can show him like, oh, bro, this is why your hip hurts. Let's figure out why. Okay. Then we go into our thoracic spine rotation test, which if you guys came to the last time, we worked on that a little bit. But we do it without a block, looking at pain and tension in the hips, pain and tension anywhere along the spine, neck, shoulders, whatever it is, hips, knees, foot movement, and then posture and range of motion. And then we block the hips. The reason why we block the hips is because if we don't have rotation in that TL junction, the energy has to disperse somewhere else, right? Generally, it'll either disperse in the hips, the spines, or the spine or the shoulders. If we block the hips, it takes that away and forces it to go somewhere else, and it'll clue us in to what is. It gives us more clues as to what's going on. Puts another piece to the puzzle. We then do a head rotation, depending if we need that. We'll do a baseline, just sitting here, normal posture. It also gives us clues to whether their posture is contributing to their pain in their neck. We'll take their arms out of it. A lot of times, their upper traps will interfere and cause neck pain, right? Because connected to the skull. If those are overworked, it creates like a sheet, and now you have decreased mobility. Get those out of the way. We clear up the rotation, decrease pain. It gives us clues. Does that make sense? Cool. So then we go into hips, internal, external rotation, passive and active, with and without core engagement, because the hip flexors go from TL junction to the hips, to the femurs, right? We have them actively do it to see what their active range of motion is. Then we passively do it. And we don't, once we do that, we then have the person engage their core. And then we rotate. If their rotation increases, we know, okay, they can use their deep core stabilizers. They just need practice doing it, right? Or if the range of motion decreases, which happens a lot more, now we know they're using their hip flexors to stabilize their core, because if they're stabilizing their core, you can't rotate the leg. Does that make sense? Yeah, you guys with me? Cool. We do the same thing with the shoulders, similar concept. And then we get into our muscle testing, which is always the fun part. I tell people, I always say, if you guys want to see some magic tricks, that's how I introduce it. And then we get into stability tests, hamstrings, glutes, or anything you want to add, whether it's like a core test, a bird dog, whatever. Those, depending on time, when I'm in the exam, I may not always do the stability test. If I get a person who is, if I get, I've had somebody come in, he was an MD, specifically said, "You don't do any of that AK shit, do you?" I was like, I got many tools, man. That's why you need to know how to cook your chicken, right? So I didn't necessarily do any with him, but I still was able to get the answer. We went forward. So depending on the person, you want to have a backup plan in your pocket. Does that make sense? All right. Side note, caveat to that, a lot of people, not caveat, but like little side note. One thing I've always been told, right? Treat people how you want to be treated, right? Treat somebody how you want your mother to be treated. In principle, that's not a bad idea, but you also need to treat people how they want to be treated. Like, and what that means is I want to know all the scientific bullshit. I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to, like, if you got some tricks, magic tricks you want to show me, cool. I want details. I want explanations. I want certain things. I have patients that when I explain things, when I've tried to explain things to them in detail, they're like, bro, I don't care. Straight up. I've had somebody tell me, like, I'm going to go through the plan, but that was a lot of fluff. I didn't need all of it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So you want to treat people how they want to be treated, just as a side note, like with the guy that said, you don't do any of that AK shit. So just a side note for your futures. All right. So when we look at the assessment, here we have some not quite as big as I would like, but this is from the posture screen. When we look here, this lady, she the top one's left, but when we look here, this red line is where her posture is actually. Can you guys all see that by chance? Yeah. And this green line is where it should be. She has Achilles tendinopathy, and for some reason, no one can figure it out. Do you guys have a guess why she has Achilles tendinopathy? Yeah, she's leaning. She's a chef, right? And she makes pasta, and she's literally leaning forward on her tippy toes all day. Literally, no one's figured it out because they didn't look at her posture. Step one. All right. This lady here had a hamstring injury. She was training for the Boston Marathon. Um, yeah, but kept pulling her hamstring every year. When we looked at her squat, front squat was okay. Hamstring injury was the medial left hamstring. This is really small, so you can't see it, but this left knee is going out, which lets me know this, or yeah, which lets me know that the lateral hamstring or TFL or piriformis are probably overactive and they're yanking on that medial hamstring. So if she's running, it's pushing out. That hamstring's getting pulled on and beat up a little bit every time she takes a step. You're training for a marathon. It's a lot of miles, a lot of wear and tear. Okay? Why we need to go through this and what it looks like. So then we go through the Connect code. We do assess the posture. We assess global movement. We showed you the overhead squat. It'll be a push up. Then we go through specific movements of the sports, the trunk, neck, hip, shoulder rotation, and then we get into the AK muscle testing, which is we want to perform that in areas up and down the kinetic chain in relationship to what we saw during the global movement. So if when we do and when we go and when we do the rotation, if they rotate and every time they rotate to the left, this knee does something like this, right? And we noticed that during their squat, as they squat down, they go right, and their left leg hurts. Where are we looking? Boom. Why? Because this is not doing its job, and this is having to work harder. Does that make sense to you guys? Cool. So we would do the muscle tests for the things involved with this right leg. Boom. And then that pinpoints exactly what we need to work on. Once we do that, we paint the picture. We assess we want to paint the picture, assess all movement and relationships to the pain, have objective measures, and take videos. Sound good? All right, you guys want to try the first step? All right, so what we're gonna do is get in groups. How many people do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Boom. Get in groups of 3. Grab your phones. And the first thing I want you to do is I want everybody to do overhead squat. So it's gonna be, and you're gonna watch each other. So real quick, arms up, feet about shoulder width apart, down, and back up. What we're looking at is thoracic extension. We're looking to see, is the angle, are you able to stay up? Are you going too far down? Does your low back arch? Do your knees wobble? What do your feet do, right? Take a look at what your friends do. So take your, yeah, front, side, and back. Yep. Do they lean to different sides?
Front side.
3 videos. Yep. And it would be helpful to take your shoes off too, so you can see what feet do. Palms facing each other too. Jeez. Ooh, that left knee though.
I was stiff as hell.
You have more games?
Bro, we lost in Vegas.
Ah. I'll ask you about that after.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
That was pretty good. Let me see. Yeah, and I like to slow it down. And then you go to the left. The shift, and that right knee comes out. Yeah, and then and thinking about what's going on. So kind of take notes, and then when we go through the muscle test, try to test in that same area to see what happens. Yeah.
Oh, I was not ready to do Damn.
I seen that right knee already.
The arms up makes a difference, man.
Yeah, it does really super.
Yeah, because it involves. Yeah, because it forces the lats and it forces that TL junction to have to be involved. So if the hip flexors are too tight, if the lats are disengaged, it's going to change your posture and it's going to change, right? So here, a regular squat, that's easy. Here, you can feel it. I can feel it up the contented, through the chain, right? Yeah. Doing good?
I got hella tight hips.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do mine, don't say my left knee kind of buckles in.
Yep.
Right there.
Yeah.
Because I have hella tight hips.
Yeah.
So I can't get 90 degrees unless I get a hella big sumo squat.
Yeah, have a bad toe injury.
Yeah.
Did
I literally can't go parallel unless I'm 90.
Yeah.
Unless I'm a hella big sumo.
When we do the hip stuff, I'll jump up. I'll call you.
Oh, bro, I got a patient in 10 minutes. Yeah, that's why I'm suited up right now.
Damn! That would have been a good one.
Dude, yeah, my hips are hella tight.
How long is your patient gonna be?
I got 2 of them.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, I know. My bad.
What's your name?
Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, I think I met you last time. I talked to you about Katati.
Yeah. My bad, man.
No, you're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Nevada. So that's why,
yeah.
That's why I know Katati area.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. While they're doing this, real quick, lay on the table because I do want to show you. This is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, let me borrow your leg. So here, which leg is it? All right. So actively, internally, externally rotate your hip. Okay. And then other way. Okay, relax. Now I'm gonna do it for you, and I'm just gonna go to where I feel tension. It's about the same. And about the same. All right. So now engage your core and push down into the table as hard as you can. Boom. See how that's harder to move?
Yeah.
And the range of motion decreases. Relax. So then straighten your leg, rotate away, hold, straighten the knee, hold here, and don't let me push down. So that, now we're gonna check hip flexors. So now, right, that speaks to the hip flexors being decreased, right? And I know that the core stabilizers are part of the reason why those are overactive. So if you worked on like dead bugs and like deep core breathing, like pelvic floor breathing and stuff, it would help to relax them, and then you would be able to just like move them separately.
I know. I need to get my dead bugs in there.
Yeah, dead bugs, and then supine 90-90s, like the baby, like the 3-month supine position. That one.
Okay, for sure. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So how do you guys feel about that? Hard, right?
I'm embarrassed, bro.
Right. And it's like everybody here is pretty fit, right? Pretty fit, pretty athletic. Everyone works out. Yeah. You'd be surprised, man. But when we extend our arms, I was explaining this to a couple other people, it forces lat engagement, right? It also, which then will put pressure on our core and those deep core stabilizers, and it lets us know if they're engaged. That, in turn, will put pressure on that TL junction to see if we have control there, and that will affect our hip flexors. Does that make sense? So we get a lot of information out.
I was gonna actually like do overhead squat instead of like regular squat.
Because regular squat's easy. And right, everyone does a regular squat. Everyone has developed cheats for those regular squats.
Because I do front squats a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and then I know when I get to the bottom and then I come up, I start leaning forward a little
Yeah.
bit. That's like the core stabilizer.
Mm-hmm. That or like erectors. But like, yeah. But when you think about like QLs, right? It's probably part of that. But yeah, so it creates new challenges, and the way everything is working together is why we do the overhead squat. Sound good to you guys? All right. Press up is very similar. Or push up? Press up is like whatever. When you're doing a push up, a lot, a lot of times you want to. When we see it, we want to see down pack. We don't want shoulders up. We don't want neck here. We don't want neck here. Nice, good push up. A lot of times you'll see people do this. You'll see this, right? And that all speaks to different issues involved in the shoulder girdle, right? And so we want to be able to not let that be an issue. Some people need it, some people don't. Yeah. So depends. And we're not going to go through it for the sake of time. Is that cool with you guys? All right. So now, if we had a specific movement, like I said, if it was a soccer player that said every time I kick the ball, my foot hurts, I'd watch him kick a ball. Tennis player, I'd watch him hit a tennis ball. Does that make sense? Cool. So now we want to get into the trunk, hip, shoulder rotation stuff. So, can I have a volunteer? All right. Well, we'll take different volunteers. We can go multiple people. Take a sit. All right.
Ladies, man.
I don't know.
All right. So, what's your name?
Rayo.
Areo?
Yeah.
All right, man. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry if I met you guys before and I forgot. Life is busy, man. I'm sorry. All right. So, first thing we're going to do is, Areo, sit up straight or sit normal. Now, take your arms and put them up just like this. All right. Oh, I don't have my phone. Somebody take a video of this head on. So, what I want you to do is I want you to rotate as far as you can to your left. Good. And back. What'd you feel?
Tightness on my lap.
Which one?
On the right one, lower side.
Lower right? Okay. And do the same thing to the other side. And back. What'd you feel? Nothing really? Good. Now, do you have anything going on with you? Okay. All right, so now take this and hold it between your knees. Okay. Now go to your left. What do you feel?
Tighter on the right. I'm on the right lat.
Okay, and go to your left. What do you feel there? All right. A little tighter on the right lat. Do you ever get like shoulder blade pain? All right. Do you ever get right shoulder pain?
Yeah.
All right. So clearly we have an issue with rotation. Something's going on. You can put your arms down. And something's affecting his right arm, his right shoulder in rotation. We know that we are a series of pulleys. So if every time he rotates to his left and his right pulls, now I got to think. His spine isn't able. So imagine I'm like standing behind him. His spine isn't able to go here to rotate to the right. So what's happening is that right lat is like tugging and tugging. And this pec, which if you look at his shoulders right here, this one's a little bit minimally more rounded. Is this tender in here? Tight? Yeah. So this right pec now is tugging to try to get him over, which is going to cause the winging in the scapula, which is then going to cause this pain on this medial portion of the scapula. Can we agree to that? Do you feel those symptoms? Okay, cool. So then we're going to say, okay, how does that, let's see if his neck is involved. So rotate your neck or your head. Okay, and back to the middle. Any pain? Okay. And then rotate to the right.
My butt.
Huh?
Thoracics?
No, your head, your head.
Oh.
What happens with that right shoulder? Left side. So then when he turns to the right and it lifts up, when we think about the lats, or the traps, I'm sorry, right, that go from the base of your skull to the AC joint, and you turn this way, clearly we have some tightness here. Can we understand that? Yeah. So now we're cluing in on what's going on. So shoulder pain is likely coming from rotation, from traps, right? So now let's take your arms, pull them back, get those shoulders out of the way. Yep. Now turn your head to the left and turn to the right. Boom. Move the traps out of the way. Now we have clearness, right? So, I mean, I'm just going to keep rolling into how we then go into the muscle test, but I use a series of things. So now let's have you go face down. Do y'all have face paper? I was going to say, you're putting my dude in risk. Yeah, for real. Any of y'all wrestled? You did, yeah, that ringworm life, man. No shoes on the mats.
No shoes on.
That cauliflower ear. All right, so now I want to see what's going on. Let's take your right arm and reach out to the side. Let's go thumb up. So now we're going to check mid-trap. And we're going to go more through this stuff later. But I'm going to check. Don't let me move you. Okay, tough. So now I'm going to stabilize the mid-trap, pull that shoulder blade medial, and a little bit more strength, correct? Now we're going to go up. We're going to check the lower trap. Don't let me push down. It's actually a little better. Same thing, hit the lower trap. And now my guy's strong. So that confirms the issue with the pec, overworking, squeezing, pulling the scapula, lateral, winging it, decreasing the ability for the mid and lower trap to do their job. Speaking to that TL junction, which we were able to reproduce the pain initially with the thoracic rotation. He had the hip movement. You guys saw that, right? And we stopped the hip movement with the block. The pain increased, led us down the line. Following me? Cool. Exactly. Cool. All right. Go ahead and hop up. So what I want you guys to do is I want everybody to get with the partner. Oh yeah, I wanted to film just so we could remember. Oh no, we're good. Just so I could remember his hips thing, but we all right, cool. So get in those groups of three. Get in different groups of three. If we still have it, I know a couple people left, but get in different groups. Get your phones out. Or You know what? Get with the same groups. That way we can build. No, because we can build an assessment of everybody. Yeah. So get with your groups. Do your rotation. Go hips with and without the block. If you want, do neck with and without the shoulders. Take your video.
Okay.
And we got these guys. If anybody needs. Is there garbage?
Yeah.
I'll get you to come up next. I'll get you to come up next. I like that shirt too, though. Yeah, that's fire. Nice. What? Where at? Ah, yeah, that's fire.
So it's all laps. Maybe a little QL too, but I don't know some kind of stuff like that. Crazy. Can I just do all of them? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, rotate your head to it.
When you're doing it, also pay attention to posture. Recognize if the person can sit straight up and do it, or if they have to lean and work their body around.
Have you turning to your left?
Oh,
when you turn to your right, your left.
Yeah.
That's like the pulling you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and then as the observers too, you guys want to. So like the first one I noticed, you were doing it, and it was like no, I just saw you were just kind of like this. Yeah, and that's also speaking to core stuff and like lack of mobility, right? So if they're like, I turned all the way around, like, bro, you didn't turn all the way around. Yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. So like that's also something to like pay attention to when you're assessing people.
But also something to do with like the rectus spine and the TLs, like kind of pulling them back with extension.
That exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, rectus spine and yes, and traps and QLs. Yeah, yeah. Or it could be that the hip flexors are so tight that they're pulling the TL junction anteriorly, right? Because like if you notice like people who have like a lot of hip pain, right? They're usually like this. Yeah, and it's because they're getting tugged. Hi, how are you? I'm Aaron. I'm Dr. Gissett or Aaron, whatever. Yeah.
At you.
Oh, nice. What are you presenting?
Mostly kinesiology and biomechanics.
Oh, sick. I feel like I got stuff to do. I want to hear about this. This is awesome.
Yeah, we do a lot of sports performance.
Yeah,
assessments.
same. Yeah. Where are you located?
I'm in River City at
Okay.
Seaport.
Okay.
So I work with Encore Volleyball, which is in Limo.
Okay.
They have 25 volleyball teams going on there.
Nice.
And so we've done vertical jump assessments, lots of testing,
Yep.
what's weak, what needs to be built, we'll have vertical height
Yep.
issues,
Yep. That's
all that
awesome.
stuff. So it's been fun.
Yeah, that's very
But I
cool.
saw, oh, you're doing muscle testing, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do any of that.
Yeah.
And then I think Ricky is doing lower extremities, and he says adjusting is kind of after.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'm gonna move on to just biomechanics and taping.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of tie things in.
Yeah, that's like, man, they're getting the full
I know.
scope of like athletes.
Yeah.
This
and I'll
is
talk
cool.
a little bit about muscle flossing, how
Yeah.
you do it,
That's
what
awesome.
other tools do we use.
Yeah.
Here are the expensive ones, but you can buy them
Mhm.
cheaper if you want.
Right. The Amazon.
Like you can do rock tape,
Yep.
which is 150 a roll, or you can do OK tape, which is
Rock tape is 150 now.
It is a lot.
He used to not be that much.
I tried out 10 different tapes, and OK tape on Amazon is pretty much the same as rock tape.
Okay.
Rock tape 2. And so that's the most commonly used one.
Okay.
So I use OK tape because I take OR.
Is it just OK or OKAY?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If you're around.
Yeah, I gotta go do some stuff, but I might try to come back to that. Yeah. Hey. All right, how you guys doing? Good. Everybody get their go yet? You got what time is it?
9:55.
All right, cool. Thank you. Not yet. Well, we were gonna come back to that. I was just showing how it's related. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody. Oh.
This is mid trap.
Yeah.
And this is lower trap.
Yes.
Or not trap. Flat.
That's trap. Lower trap. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Everybody get their rotations in. Kind of give them a look. Yeah. I heard some groans and some giggles. How'd that go for you guys? It ain't the stretching that's gonna help, man. You got who found something kind of that they weren't expecting? Yeah. Every time, right? A little surprising, kind of things you think you're gonna be able to do, and right, and it's simple, right? Yeah, people understand simple. That's why I like this kind of stuff. All right, so we did the trunk, the neck. All right, now for the hips and shoulders. So, my guy, let's have you come on up. So now, let's have you lay on your back. So now we know that there's an issue rotation, right? And we know that there could be a couple of issues for the rotation, whether it's generally it's postural that leads to muscle imbalances, and we want to understand why. Sometimes it's the inability to engage your core. Sometimes it's the lack of knowledge of when to engage your core. And sometimes it's something else. And we're going to try to figure that out. All right. So, first thing I'm going to have the person do is let's have you lift your right knee up and bend your knee to 90 degrees. Right here. Hold it up. Right there. Now, I want you to internally and externally rotate as best you can. Good. And I'm taking note of where it goes. And I'm going to have them take note as well. Externally rotate. Or internally, I'm sorry. Oh, you were doing it.
Yeah, that's what this is for.
All right. So, I'll hold your leg. So now we know internal rotation is not his friend, right? On this right hip. So relax for a second. And so now I'm going to passively rotate, and I'm only going until I feel tension. I'm not trying to push into it. I don't want to. A lot of people are sensitive at this point, right? And it's vulnerable. You just met this person. You're not trying to. We're not on date 3. We're on date 1. Sound good? So just till I get tension, find it. All right, cool. About the same as passive or active. I go out and I hit a hard stop. Boom. But I'm not going to push it. I'm just feeling. Do you feel how we stop hard there? All right. And you kind of pay attention to this. Okay. Now we check both sides. So now bend your knee, lift up, rotate in. Much better range of motion on this left hip and internally rotate. He ain't got it. All right. Oh, also do that again. Watch his back.
Disengaging.
Yep. Do it.
I'm like squeezing.
Hip flexors right now. We're going to figure out why the hip flexors are pissed off though. So now I'm going to passively do it. Passive. Oh man, you guys his external rotation or internal rotation passively on this leg is actually existent, right? It's there. So something's going on where he's unable to do it actively on this side, and the internal rotation or external rotation is good. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to come back over here so you can see. Lift your leg up. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to feel it. Is it okay if I reach under your low back? All right. Always permission based, especially in the beginning. Most important thing. So now I want you to push your low back into my hand as hard as you can. Drive it into the table. You guys see how his legs are already lifting? What is that? For me, I already know his hip flexors are doing the work, right? So now keep going. Keep it going. That one's lifted. We got clues, right? But now we're doing this just for fun. Now this is where we start smirking and giggling, be like, I know what's going on, man. I got you. Check this out. All right, so engage here, hard as you can. Don't help me. No. Let me move you, but don't help me. See? He can't.
It's already starting to cramp up.
Boom. So now we know that he's using his hip flexors to stabilize his core, at least on the right. Okay? So why do we have a change in rotation? Likely is because those deep internal core stabilizers are not doing their job. Then that is going to cause these hip flexors to overwork, which is going to cause an extension bias right in that TL junction because that's where it pulls. If that changes, if the facets change from this way to being in kind of this way and they can't rotate as well, now we have that change up the kinetic chain. Does that make sense? So we'll check the other side. Lift this leg up. Can I reach under?
Yeah.
Cool. Engage as hard as you can. Keep going. And we're seeing it again. And we can externally rotate, cannot internally rotate at all. So what we know is core is involved there. And when we go to the end, I'm going to show you how I paint the picture. And that's going to give us some more insight. Yes.
So is that also based off like anatomical structure? Like if you have what's the word? Your hips, the way that it's shaped, if it's more
Like Q angle?
yeah.
Yeah, yes, but we're looking for changes. So everyone's different, right?
Yeah.
Right. No one person has this exact same anatomy, even twins. So we're not. So you have like what is it? I forgot what it's called, biophysical model or whatever, where it's just like this is the perfect movement. Like that's not necessarily what we can do, right? But what I can do is is there a change in range of motion from passive, active, core engagement? And what does that mean?
And that's why you test it bilaterally, right?
Yes. And is it different between sides? But that's why I do the three. So it's why I do the interventions, right? And because you want to see what intervention works or doesn't work or creates a change so you know what buttons to press.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Okay. So yes, no matter who it is, it should be okay. You have any shoulder or lat or upper back pain?
Yeah,
Left?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we can do the same thing with the shoulder. No. Stay here. So what we're gonna do is I want you to go 90 degrees yep. And you can just do this left arm since that's the one you said for now. I want you to externally rotate as far back as you can. So do it again. Go back up. Watch his back when he does it. Good. And we have a big arch under here, right? Do it again. One more. Yeah, and we're lifting up. So now what I want to do, that was the active. Now I'm going to do a passive. I could put my knee here so it doesn't kind of fall. I go. Good range of motion. So that's not an issue, right?
No.
So what I want to do now is same thing. Can I reach under your back? I want you to push right through here into the table as hard as you can. And how does that feel?
It's a lot tighter here.
A lot tighter. So now we know we have a lot of tightness. You're a power lifter, aren't you?
Huh?
Power lifter?
No.
Too much bench, man.
I dabble with
You gotta start doing some pull-ups, my guy. So now he has pain in here, right? Did you have pain the first time?
No.
Okay. So now we know that, relax for a second, if he is able to do this, he has full range of motion, right? Pec is tight. However, if we ground, it's called grounding, his thoracic spine, he now has pain trying to go into that position. So something in here is an issue. We want to figure out what, right? So now I want you to pull this lat down. Good. And now go back. How does that feel?
Still tight. Yeah.
Still tight?
Yeah.
Okay. And pull down here. No, into the table.
Less tight. Yeah.
Less tight.
Yeah.
So by pulling the lat down and then engaging, it's less tight. We know that we have a muscle imbalance. I can also look at you until we have a muscle imbalance. But something here isn't doing the job. This one, the shoulder one is, we get a lot more out of the rotation, but sometimes you got to go to this because you don't get information from the rotation. Does that make sense? But what we're getting is pec is tight, trap is disengaged. Another way to show what we're experiencing, right? Okay, so let's have everybody work on the hip rotation. Yes.
So when you're doing this, are you actively like writing?
Oh, yeah. So I have this,
Yeah.
and it's shorthand, but it's like posture, anterior tilt, lateral head motion or lateral head lean, squat, right knee collapses, weight supported on left. Sport specific movement, pop move, right knee drops in. Yeah, so like super shorthand. But yeah, I write it down, and then once they leave, I make it all pretty. But yeah, 100%. You're not gonna remember it. And I take a lot of videos. So everything, all the rotation, all the squat, anything that I don't have to like physically touch them on, I do it. I use my phone and take a video because people like to see it too. Okay. Any other questions before we start? All right, let's do some hip internal external rotation. Same people.
So I was, because I front squat a lot,
Mhm.
and I was front squatting yesterday, and I know my hips do come in a little bit at the bottom because I know my core doesn't engage, and then I did like hurt my upper back when I was up here
Yeah.
when I came up,
Yeah.
and I don't know what it was.
Where?
It's like right here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my rhomboids or like
Right through here. That's like swollen.
right there or like intercostal. I don't know.
It's hard to say, cause like that's when we get into like the deeper stuff, right? Like when we go through the AK testing, it'll help us be able to like pinpoint that. But we know like this is the region, right? And we know that if this is too tight,
It's more so like this one's tighter than the left one, actually.
right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I'm like
what happened? Okay,
overcompensating.
so if this is tighter,
Yeah.
this one probably try to do more work and strain.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But so how do I like go about it moving forward in order to like
Balance out.
Yeah.
So strengthen this side, and more dead bugs, core extension, and have somebody treat your TL. And then also like hip flexor, like stretching, and then DNS.
No.
Do like a dead bug sort of? It's like a dead bug exercise without the leg movement.
So just
Yep. No. Without any movement, just like pushing the low back in and breathing into your belly. Yeah. So like here, lay on your back real quick. So let's go. Legs up. Both of them. Right. Extend them a little bit. Now engage your core here. So push down as hard as you can. Now breathe into your belly. Into your belly. That's your chest. And keep this down. And more up here too. Pull the rib cage down. There you go. And now breathe into here. And then keep this down. Like, so it's kind of difficult, right? So you can even have rest your legs. Now breathe in. But engage the core too. Now breathe in. Yeah. And then keep doing it and keep the core engaged. And then you start getting loosey-goosey hips. So now this teaches you how to engage your core, breathe, and not use your hip flexors. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I thought I was normally like engaging my core properly, but I guess breathing in because I'm mostly feeling it, through the forward
Mm-hmm.
instead of through
The whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want a 360 like a barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. I appreciate the questions. You?
External goes crazy. Internal.
All right, we did get started a little late, so I want to make sure we get through the muscle testing because I know you guys want to be here. So keep going, but you guys doing okay with this? Yeah. Cool. It was just. And
You're hiking your.
look at this whole left leg when he did that. Every time, right? When we talk about that pulley system, and it's painful. Where did it hurt?
When I was doing it,
Yeah.
I felt like I was putting more like contraction on my left side.
Yeah.
But I feel it all like right here.
Yeah. Yeah. TFLs might be a little angry
Yeah.
too.
That's it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not touching it. So
Honestly,
Right
better
here?
external than
right there.
internal on this side.
That
Oh.
versus like if you feel like this muscle here, like feel
Oh,
his like
especially when you were trying
gastro.
to do it.
Yeah. Oh, it contracted.
Whenever I was internally rotating?
When you put it back down, I felt it relax. Yeah, I think so. It like feels super tight.
That's kind of cool.
Alexis?
Yeah, a little bit.
Damn.
Wow.
TFL, my boy.
That might be the funniest thing I've heard all day.
That's not bad though.
Still got internal might be a little rough.
Not the same.
Brett. Rear delt.
Is that the rear delt, right?
Internal is crazy.
Where? Right here?
Right here.
Right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is alignment. So can you pull your shoulder blade medial?
Like.
Yeah. And then and then depress it. So go down towards your yep. Now can you push your shoulder into my finger right here? Right there. Now do the rotation.
Pass.
Yeah. Do whatever. Just reproduce pain the first time. Don't lose me here. Keep pushing here.
Yeah. Right there. Okay, where your fingertip
Right there?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's having issues engaging. So right here, his shoulder's popping up, right? So he's having issues down packing to keep the the chromium process, like posterior. So what's happening is if this is uh, the socket, the glenoid, yes, the glenoid. Thank you. I was gonna say acetabulum. Like, that is not. That's the wrong one. The glenoid, and this is the humeral head. So it should be here evenly, and this is like towards you is posterior. He's kind of like this, and so now it's gonna rub in that joint. And so yes,
So it's the joint. It's not necessarily that's where
no, is likely, is likely like rhomboids, overactive levator scap, underactive serratus, right? Because now that's like pulling here because he's having issues being able to. You see how it's anterior rotated, so he's probably pecs are probably tight. Yep, right there. And so we want this to be able to do that. So now if I stabilize here, go backwards. Does that change? Because now, right, and we don't need full change, right? But if I can get this down and a better, now down pack your shoulder. So, yeah, engage. Now, go back. How does that feel now?
It feels better. I still feel it, but it feels better.
It feels better. So we're just trying to see if we can make change. Yeah.
And then on this one, my
It's like feel. Yeah, because you can feel back here. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut
you
you.
didn't even tell me about that one. Actually, I just felt it right now when I was testing it. On
off.
this one, when I go backwards, there's like a pop, like every time, pretty much.
Right there. Yeah.
I don't know if you can feel it.
Yep. So same thing. So feel under here. This is not popping up, or it is popping up, right? So down pack the shoulder. So move the scapula medial and down. Yep. Right there. Now you see how that pushes down a little more. Now help stabilize him. So you're gonna go in right here, and now he's engaged. And now do it. Still pops
One more so at the end versus
in the
from
beginning.
from like the beginning.
Right. And still pull down here. And, yeah.
Oh, no pop.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
cool.
it's joint angle. Joint angle dictates muscle fiber recruitment, and so and vice versa. So muscle fiber recruitment dictates joint angle, and so if the joint angle is altered, that's where you're going to get all that popping and stuff. And so it's figuring out what muscles are not contributing to that joint.
How would you treat that?
That's muscle testing. It's you figure out what muscles are disengaged. Yeah, and then whatever exercises that you want to use to teach. Anything that's going to pull and force them to not do this. So anything pulling and focusing on the down pat. It's like Wise T's eyes. I'm writing the book. No, I have like a few different things that I follow. I put like 5 or 6 things together. Yeah. But no, but I am writing the. I am writing the book. But yeah, yeah, I use a combination of applied kinesiology, like biomechanical, biophysical model, and staring at anatomy, and like, yeah, yeah, but yeah, and like, oh yeah, thanks, yeah, I'll let you know. But yeah, just understanding what's going on, and what I've learned from AK, combining it with movement assessment is pretty much, and then like SFMA is part of it. Like that's where the squat stuff comes from. Yeah, 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 core engagement stuff kind of from there, and then like looking at anatomy, thinking about where everything's based on, and putting together the puzzles. Yeah, yeah, no problem. All right, how you guys doing? Good. You still good? All right. So we figured out how to look at posture. We looked at global movement, overhead squat, uh, whatever specific movement. We didn't do that. Trunk, neck, hip, and shoulder rotation. And now we're here for the thing that you all guys have probably all been waiting for, the muscle testing. All right. So I was asked, how do we fix this issue, right? And the first step to fixing the issue is to understand what muscles are involved. We know what regions are involved. We know what movement is not working, right? Now we want to pinpoint exactly how we need to fix that. Sound good? All right. And we do that through some muscle testing. So when we're doing muscle testing, a couple things we want to remember. We want to use arc-type motions. What does that mean? That means if our arm, can I have a volunteer, John? So if, scoot down because I have short arms. So arm up to the side, thumb. No, straight like this. Sorry, you can't see me behind you. So we don't want to push down here. So I'm not pushing this straight down. I'll always be able to beat him. I want to push in a J shape every time. Resist me? Right? That, which I couldn't move him, versus that. Does that make sense? We're trying to load the joint. So everything we do, yeah.
So does that also depend on what part of the arm you're testing? So if you're testing more lateral or medial,
I'm not sure. Can you? What do you?
so you're pushing down further out.
Oh, like you're talking about like lever arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for example, if I'm doing a flat test here, or I'm sorry, if I do a J test here, he's going to be a lot stronger than he is out here, right? So if I push him, I can move him a little bit, but if I'm here, I can't. So yeah, you want to think about lever arms too. However, everyone's different. I've had people where I'm trying to do like something and the wrist is a contact point, but they had wrist surgery. So now I'm on the elbow, right? It's a little different, or I can maybe be on the hand. So everyone's different, but yeah, you want to have a long lever arm because that's going to cue you in a little bit. Sound good? All right. So here we go. Let's all gather around so we can just go through this. Because anybody have the time? All right, cool. We're gonna rip through this. So first thing, I'm just gonna go through the list. I put this together pretty late last night, so it's not in order of anything that in the way I would do it, but here we are. So deep core stabilizer is one of my favorites. Give yourself a hug. What we're gonna do is you're gonna take contralateral space, left hand, one hand on the shoulder, one hand on the knee. Don't let me move you. Ready? So I'm gonna push. He can't. So then I see this leg lifts, right? You're like, hey, you see that leg lift? Oh yeah. Remember we talked about the hip flexors being overworking and engaging for the core? Now you can talk about it. Does that make sense? We can rotate them a little bit, see if the angle changes. And nope, same thing. So left side hip flexors, do the same thing over here. Ready? And now he's good. I'm sorry. The right was off. He's good on the left. Rotate. Don't let me move you. Good. So now we know his major issue is right side. Does that make sense? So if we want to do a fix, I'm going to rub your tummy. It's like Winnie the Pooh. All right. So we engage this a little bit. What I'm doing here is called facilitation. And basically, you guys, pretty soon. Have you guys ever seen sprinters or swimmers when before the race they start doing that? Facilitation. They're waking their muscles up. Kinesio tape. Same thing. Facilitation. It gives messaging to the muscles. So now, facilitate a little bit. Resist me. And now you can stabilize. And so, resist. Boom. Hip flexors isn't doing it. So we can talk to the person about that. So, deep core stabilizers, glutes, medius, minimus, and maximus. Can you pass me a face paper? All right, so now we're going to have the person laying on their side. Can you face them? He'll be all right.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Oh, thank you. That ain't help. All right, so straighten your leg. So we're going to be here. Hold right there. So glute minimus or medius right here. Pretty strong. Go forward. Don't let me push. And weak. The reason why we go forward is because when they're back, they can cheat with their TFL. Now I'm going to press on the glute medius. That increases tension. So we know right glute. Med. So we come up here. Don't let me push. Glute min. I'm going to hit you there. Boom. We're good. So medius and medius and minimus. Let's have you go face down. Bend this left knee. Lift your leg off the table. Don't let me push down. Right there. Can you take your left hand and please put 3 fingers on your ischial tuberosity? Boom. Oh, that's a little lower. There you go. Lift this up. So do you notice I did that? Do not go start touching people's butts day one. Don't let me push. And now he's strong there. Okay? Since we're here, that was glute max, by the way. You would treat that by, I use a drop table for that. Fist, stabilize, drop, boom. 3 of those, usually good to go. If it doesn't work, then you can relax here. Then we check for piriformis, bend this knee. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push extra foot medially. So don't let me push your foot. Ready? We got a lot of movement there. Can I have you borrow your hand again? Yep. And press right on that piriformis or right through there. Don't let me move you. Boom. The massage gun right through there. All right. So we're here, hamstrings. So about 45 degrees, hold here. Don't let me push. You want to stabilize here on the hamstring. It helps. Helps prevent cramps. So I push down. Middle hamstring's not great, so we want to see. Let's go externally rotate the foot. Where the heel points is the hamstring we're testing. So we have medial here. Don't let me push. Medial is good. Let's go lateral. Lateral is the issue. Okay, so now we come in, stabilize. Good. Okay, so now we know we want to love on this a little bit, get everything strong, and then take the information we have here. We always write it down, and we're going to compare that to what we found earlier to paint the picture. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's have you flip onto your back again. So then we have hip flexors. So I'm going to have you straighten your leg. Straight. Externally rotate. Hold. And I'm going to stabilize one hand on opposite fist. Push down. Obviously that didn't work. So we'll put our hand on there psoas. Don't let me move. Nice and strong. Rotate a little further and a little wider. Now we're on iliacus. Don't let me push. Again, iliac. Yeah, where's your head? Small waist. And now we're on iliacus. We're on iliacus, and we're back there. All right. If for the hip flexors and the TFL, I'm gonna take your shoes off. There are two other options that we have. If we do the hip flexor test and we stabilize there and it doesn't work, our next option on the hip flexors is the medial portion of the foot around the arch, first metatarsal, talus, and calcaneus. Okay? Love on those a little bit. If that makes a change, work on the foot muscles and adjust. Then, sound good? All right. So then let's have you rotate in and we're going to do TFL. So hold your leg here. Don't let me push. Can you rotate in anymore? No. So then I'm going to go in and now that didn't work, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rub the cuboids on the outside. And the reason why this works is you guys know about fascial lines and slings, right? You have one that goes up to the hip flexors on the medial portion, outside goes to the TFL. So I'm going to rub out here, and I can already feel some swelling, so this might actually be the issue. Rotate in. Don't let me internal rotate, right there. Don't let me push. And now that stabilized it, right? So since we're here, you good? Boom. And then hold this, rotate in. Don't let me push. There we go. So that wasn't the issue. You can always come up here and check. If they're tight, I might love on it anyway, right? I might do some ART on this, maybe some massage gun, just because, especially in the beginning, we really want to balance this out. But what we know is his foot wasn't moving right, changing the way things are going, affecting his TFL, right? Okay, so then we did psoas, adductor. So feet go together. No, straight leg. Yep, toes up towards the ceiling. We're going to do adductors. So don't let me pull. See how his feet pulled apart a little bit? And I know I'm doing it this way. The crossover is also beneficial. Gives you a little easier arch. Toes away. Don't let me pull. There, toes in. I'm doing this all types of off balance. There we go. All right, so then we would massage gun on these adductors, right? Quick, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, each one. Now, rectus femoris. So straighten this leg. Just straight. Straight up and down. We're going to hold. Don't let me push. Rec fem. Cool. So let's go this side. Don't let me push. There we go. Left leg's good. So see that nice and strong to start. And then we'll go here. When you're doing the pressure, you don't want to just like bounce into it, right? You want to gradually increase strength. So we would address this rec fem, massage gun, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on how tight it was. Then I always check tibial rotation, Because a lot of times when that's off, the rectus femoris goes down to the patellar tendon, right? You guys with me on that? I'll do a little scraping here, a little bit down here on the insertion, and then I want to internally, externally rotate. John has some issues with external rotation. When we walk, it's important for those tibias to be able to rotate, right? Because as the foot goes, it does this motion, right? We don't have internal rotation of this tibia. I would, depending on the person, injury, whatever, I'd either manually adjust it or activate it, depending on who they are. Then I'd retest, straighten, hold, let me push, boom. And that was from loving on it a little bit. And as you do it, especially day one, and you're not doing big fixes, you want to say like, yeah, we fixed it. We fixed that for now. It's not going to last because whatever, right? So PI, the AS is also the same as the glute max test. Fun fact. Then we're here. So now we're going to do a PI. So hold your leg here. I'm going to stand behind it. Don't do this. It's going to hurt. And I'm going to push in this way forward. Don't let me move you. And so some issues there. Take your right hand, put it on your SI joint on the right. Yep. So lay back down. Lift this leg up. Don't let me push. Boom. And strong again. Okay. Relax there. All right. So then posterior tibialis, that's a good one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you dorsiflex and bend your toes, like make a fist, and don't let me pull down. I'm going to pull down and in. So nice and good there. Let's go internal, bend your toes. I'm going to then pull, let's go internal on this foot, bend your toes, and don't let me pull. I'm going to then pull down and away. He's actually pretty good here. Then we'll go into popliteus, bend this knee, lift the front of your foot up, rotate in, bend your toes, and don't let me push away. Ready? And so now I see popliteus is an issue. Relax. I rub on the back of his knee. Whoa. Bend your toes and don't let me pull. And now we have a lot more strength. Okay? All right, let's have you flip over one more time. We're going to get your lats and rhomboids. So we got, or traps and rhomboids. So we have middle trap, lift your arm up, thumb up towards the ceiling. Can you externally rotate anymore? You want them as externally rotated as possible. A lot of people can't. Don't let me push, which is part of the reason why they're going to see you. Right there, we're weak, stabilize, improve. Go up, weak, stabilize, improve, and we're going to go lower. So go down, 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 thumb up, other up. Now we're going upper trap, don't let me push. That's weak as well. And now we stabilize. Okay, and when we go weak, it's either the muscle isn't firing or overfiring. It's our job to know which one's which. Sound good? All right, so now we're going to do rhomboids. Make two fists right here. Elbows up. Don't let me push. And that's pretty good. Relax just for a second. Lift up. Boom. Now he's strong again. The muscles are pretty deep, so what I do is I go to the insertion points, which are the upper thoracics. Okay? And we check that to see if there's anything we need to do or soft tissue in there. Okay? Now, let's have you hop up. And I'm rushing through this because I want you guys to have a chance to try. Take a seat. So now we're going to do AC joint. So we're going to go up and away. Yeah, little Elon. Hold here. Don't let me push. Ready? So that's the AC joint. We're going to have them press there. Stabilized, little improvement. Boom. Versus that. Now we're going to go SC. So let's have you block the sun like you're playing baseball. Elbow down. You're going to pull out, down towards you. Not so great. A lot of times we have, relax, overactive pecs. Whoa. That's going to be an issue. Bring it back up. Don't let me pull. And we're good. All right. GHI forward. It's like glenohumeral subluxation, I guess. You guys say subluxation here? I don't know. Misalignment. I don't know. There's a lot of heat on those words, man. So let me push. Palmer, Davenport. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. All right, hold there. Straighten your elbow as much as you can. If they bend their elbow, it's an easy cheat. Okay, we would adjust GHI. And now we're gonna do lat. So tight to your body, just like this. Squeeze that elbow in as tight as you can. And he's strong as hell. So, but you see how we have wiggle here, even though he's strong. Let's check the other side. Do this one. Boom, boom. Right? See that? So then relax. Hit the lat. Three, two, one. Tighten up. And now a lot more stable. All right, let's practice that. We have the list. I'm going to come around. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask. Does anybody have a time check? 10:35. Let's do this for about 15-ish minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, because I do want to answer questions at the end. Sound good? So with the people that you've worked with so far, think about what you have noticed and kind of go through these tests for what they need. Thank you. Oh yeah.
How you feeling, John? Huh? How you feeling?
Feel free to raise your hand, ask for help if you need it. So keep your arm a little closer. Yeah, like that. And it's like, and remember the arch. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and this leg came up, he moved. That was good. Yep, rotate. And so yeah, now. So yeah, and it's like, so what happens is he's tricking you, right? Like he is strong, but then this guy's helping. Yep. And if you feel one on your hand, like if you feel the leg under your hand kicking too, that's another indicator. And what you can always do is like rub his tummy and recheck, right? Like, does that stop the leg from moving?
How much pressure are you supposed to put on that though?
On what?
On when she's pushing me.
So.
Okay.
And it depends, right? It depends on the person. So like some people will like really like, no, let me try again. And you're like, all right, and you push harder. Or if they're like wobbly and they're like, no, I got it. I push more gentle, like just fuck with them, right? Because I'll be like, oh yeah, do it again. So I'll be like, oh yeah, look, and they're like, no, I got it. I'll be like, cool, right? Be- yeah. It's gonna go regardless. Like you can't just like, right? But like here, I'll show you too. So put your arm. Oh yeah, I'll do this. I'll do this one. So here, put yourself. Don't let me move you. Right. So it's just here, and seeing if they move. If they don't move, you just stop. Right. And then what also I'll do is if I'm trying to show like if I get like an older person who's like, oh, I'm so weak, or like big dudes too, they get all butthurt about it. So like then that's when you're like, that's when you find something strong. That's when you like rail into it, give them a little confidence because you don't want to tell somebody they're all the way broken. Yeah. So depending like if they're fighting you and they're like, no, I got it, you push less. If they're like, oh my god, I'm so weak, then you push harder on the ones that are strong. But in general, it's just a slow, gradual build. Yeah.
When you were on his lats, like after you activate something, how deep are you going into the actual muscle? Like are you just like for this, like you do the belly, but for the lats, were you like actually getting into slats, or are you just like
So when I was stabilizing it just to
Yeah.
do it, it was like
Oh, I see. You're just pulling it down and
yeah,
then having him retest.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm pulling the muscle into position, right? Like you got to think about like muscle fiber angles, right? So it's like yeah, like this, right? And that, right? So I just follow that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like think about how the scapula moves, right? And it does this. If generally it's gonna speak, tell you where to go, right? So it's here. So medial, I want to go there. And then what you do, sometimes I miss, right? And I'm just like, fuck. So I feel around until I find the spot that needs help. And sometimes I'm testing medial trap or whatever. I'm tired, man. It's a lot of talking, but I'll check middle trap and I'm in the right spot for it and it's not turning anything on. So then I hit upper trap because now, oh shit, well, they're overusing the upper trap. So if I touch that and it allows it to shut off, now they can use their middle trap. So now I know instead of me working on the middle trap all the time, I'm gonna work on relaxing the upper trap. Yeah. Yeah, so it's all about taking the pieces to the puzzle. Yeah. What's your name? Sorry. Sanal? I think I met you last time, right? Kelly? Harry? Chloe? Harry, nice to meet you guys. Yeah, you're welcome. I forgot the glute mid? Yeah. On their side? On your side. Yeah, because the glute medius and minimus are lateral abductors. Yeah, that's when you put the foot forward. So it's straight, right here. So medius is lower, minimus is higher. That's because it's opposite of what you would think. So here, and then right there, and then higher is minimus, which is right under the ilium, right? Here. Yeah. Yeah, and then max, because then max is the donkey kick muscle, so that's why you go face down. So guys, just a quick tidbit. When you're doing it, think about what the muscle does, and that's what the test is, right? So glute max and medius, or minimus and medius, they are lateral abductors, external rotators, right? And the glute max is a extensor, right? So thinking about which angles or what the muscle does will help you with the muscle tests. So I just had a few questions about that. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Trying to determine like the glute min, med, and max.
Yeah.
So we know that the minimus and the medius are you're gonna have a patient with a side posture, right? And then max position having a prone. We're just trying to figure out like where the hand placement is supposed to be to do the
right on the muscle. So I go based on the ilium, right? So we have our ilium here. The glute minimus is right here behind the TFL, right? So boom, right there. That's minimus. Then we know the medius is deep and superior is deep to the maximus, but superior to the piriformis, right? So piriformis is about there. So I'm gonna go right about there, right? It's a lot of staring at anatomy.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I have that I use every day, like I have this in my office with me at all times, and I have a Netter's book that I was using, but this is from yesterday. Literally, my second to last patient, I was going through stuff, and like this is a hand.
No, like the.
Oh, complete anatomy. Yeah, but like I was working with a lady, and we were doing wrist extension, hand stuff, and her pinky wasn't firing. So like I looked up what the fuck we were doing, like what muscles. I'm like, oh okay, boom, that's where we are. Did some soft tissue, worked on it. Like I tested it, but then muscles engaged, and it was working better. So having anatomy in front of you, I have anatomy poster, I have muscle poster, bone poster, nerve poster on my wall. Look at it all the time.
I'm a very big visual learner, so
Yeah.
also like trying to show it to my patients in
Yep.
the future too would be very helpful.
Yeah, and it helps you because if you're like I get stumped fairly often. I'm like, let me look something up real quick, and people respect that.
I mean, everyone's human too, so like not
Exactly. Exactly. They're like, oh, you care enough to look and not just guess. Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. How you guys doing? Yo. Oh, so bend your knee. Then you're gonna dorsiflex, internally rotate, and flex your toes, and then you're gonna push.
Oh, so it's the opposite of the tibial push?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So tibial
Tibial is this way?
is no, it's leg straight. So that's the difference.
Oh, okay.
So leg straight.
Oh, I was doing it wrong. I was doing it bent.
So we have one that's up and now bend, is up and out.
Okay.
That's the anterior tibialis.
Okay.
And then go the other way. And this is the other way.
That's supposed
I'm sorry, this is anterior, this is posterior.
Okay.
Yeah, right
I see.
here. Yeah, because now we're getting back here. Hey,
Okay.
jeez Louise, there it is. I can feel it. It is not trying to listen to me, but yeah. And then you bend, popliteus, you bend because that's more of a knee muscle.
Okay.
So now when we bend it, we engage it a little bit more.
So this one, you're just rotating it.
I'm not gripping that hard. I'm using like these back 2 to 3 fingers.
Okay.
So like I'm like,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah. So I'm like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is a good resource for
Bro, I'm trying to find one, man. I worked the sports clinic I worked in. They did AK, and that is where I learned a lot of it and took notes. And he gave me a PowerPoint. I would say find a mentor, which we're going to talk about at the end. I'm open to taking people on. I have a book called Applied Kinesiology that has a few stuff in there, but it's so spread out over so many different books. You got to like find the one that's good for you. Then they have a book that's like $150. That's like the Bible, has everything, but it's out of print, so you got to find it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but but I would say there's multiple different smaller books that are helpful. Huh. Yeah, no problem. And YouTube, man. Like look up AK muscle testing chiropractic, bro. People put everything on YouTube. Yeah, and then honestly, learning anatomy, understanding the principle of the test, understanding anatomy, origins, and insertions. Yeah. Yeah, that's like 75% of it. The other 25% is the technique. Yeah, like I was just telling them yesterday, I had a patient, we're working on hand stuff, and we were doing like extension in a band, and her pinky was just like shaky, right? So I went in, looked at like the different muscles, what was going on, did like, oh, okay, cool. Worked on it. Like I tested it, worked on it, found the muscle, stabilized it, it helped. Worked on it a little bit, did a lot of ART, grasping, whatever. Retest it, strong, went back to the band, she was able to do it. So it's truly understanding the anatomy. That's like the big underlying principle.
In your practice, you're doing all of this. You're running through all the tests.
Yeah. So where I said be intentional is like if somebody's like if we go through our first visit, right? We go through all the rotation and like nothing happens with their shoulders and they're here for an ankle, probably not going to worry about their shoulders, right? I'm probably going to start like rib cage now. If they're here for their shoulder and we do our rotation and their hips are fine, probably not going to worry about like I'm not going to probably go past their waist, right? And I probably will stick to hip flexors, TFL, and glutes, right? Rather than everything else. And then treat everything up there. And I might do pecs, right? Like I might do more on the pecs if it's like an upper body complaint. There's also ones you can do for scalenes and what are these guys? SCMs. Thank you. That like I might not do if it's an ankle injury. That I would maybe only do if it's a neck. That I might not do if it's a shoulder, depending on what's going on with the shoulder, right? So if it's like AC joint feeling here, I'll probably do SCMs and scalenes. If they're like, oh, it's here, I'm gonna focus on the back and the pecs, but not necessarily so much here.
Do you have your practice out here?
It's in Katati, like Santa Rosa,
Oh, okay.
like near Petaluma, kind of.
I was wondering if I could. I wanted to come in because I have like a lot of like heel pain.
Oh yeah.
And I was having it for like 3 years, but like I don't know like what's wrong with it. So
Always welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm open to like if you guys want to do a group trip up, just let me know. I'll block off the schedule, and we can do like we'll treat and you guys can watch and film and
Sure.
then you get all the stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
down for that, for sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna pop my number up and stuff
for sure.
at the end. So yeah.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. Yo, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm like growing right now. Like my schedule's bigger than I can handle, and so like I'm trying to like I'm in the like starting the hire process.
Yeah.
So that's also
I'll make the trip.
I'm gonna announce that. Yeah. So you guys are all welcome, and I'm gonna send out the invite.
For sure.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you got the time.
It is 10:49.
Cool. Thank you. All right. You do a hamstring?
Yeah, hamstring.
I would stand over here,
Okay.
right? Because we want an arch, right? So, and it's about 45. Hold there.
Oh.
And we want there. Yeah. And then you would rotate.
Okay.
Because pulling it, you don't want to just overpower.
Yeah.
And it's harder to get the arch like that than it is that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you protect yourself because you can use lats.
Okay.
All right, guys, let's finish up so we can have a Q&A. You got about 2 more minutes. Any questions while we're working on this still?
How much of your body weight are you using when you're doing these muscle tests? Like, how much are you weighting body weight versus just using arm? Are you trying to save your body by leaning more, or?
Yeah, let me see. So I'm supporting myself with my body weight.
But then doing the action with your hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not here, right? Because that's a lot on my shoulder. So
you're it's doing a lot of the force, and then the actual action is coming from your hand.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a lot of this motion, that motion.
Yeah, because a lot of what I've learned is to basically use your body
Yeah.
to lean.
Yeah.
To save your body.
Yep. So it's like that, but I don't want to I'm not body dropping. Right. It's not side posture. You know what I mean?
And then when you say it's like an arc motion, you're basically starting. This is what I'm thinking about: starting out and then down. So if you're doing doing this, I'm using you as a question. So say I'm doing this, and then we go out and down.
Except I would, yes, but I wouldn't stand there.
Right, I'm just thinking more.
Right. So here, bend your knee again. So I'm gonna be that motion. So think about the way the joint moves, and so his foot. I'm gonna move your leg. It does that. So I want to follow that motion as opposed to that because it doesn't go that way. So you're following the angle, what the body does. Yeah, in its most natural movement. Makes sense.
And then you're paying attention to both weakness and overcompensation.
Yeah. Yes.
Extra strength.
Yeah. So if we're doing a lat and I press down and hit this whole side lifts up, I'm like, all right, man. You either the lat's strong, that's not the issue, or this core is really not happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything gives you a sign. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. I appreciate all of that. How are you guys feeling right now with all of that stuff? Good? I know it's a lot. Yeah. Oh, I know there's a lot of information in a really fast space, but I got some stuff for us. So let's bring it all back in real quick. Let's all come back up. And do you guys have pictures of this so you kind of have an idea? Huh?
We've been taking videos.
All right, cool. Perfect. And I took a full-length video. I'll send it to John or man, I'm sorry. Joe. I was like, John or Nick, that is not your name. I'll send it to John and Joe, and they can send it out to you guys too. All right? So then we got to put it all together. We got a few minutes, so I'm going to speed through this. I would take a picture of this as well. I will send out the PowerPoints and all that. But we're going to put it all together. What does that mean? That means we're going to take, and I write this out on a whiteboard. And then I take a picture of it and I send it to the patient. And what I'm doing now actually is, I'm starting it this weekend. I'm going to record a video saying, hey, John, it was great to meet you during your discovery visit. We found X, Y, and Z. Show that. This is the test. This is what we saw, blah, 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 and send it to them, whether they book or not for their eval. Anyway, so the patient's problem, knee pain, neck pain, blah, blah, blah. Findings from the posture, squat, and or push-up. What did we see in the squat that led us down the line, right? Knee collapse, shift to the left, whatever it is. Now, from the rotation test, we found that during your squat, your right knee collapses in every time, and on your way up, you are leaning to the left. On your rotation test, every time you rotated to the left, your right knee collapsed in. We found the correlations there. Can you see where I'm going with this? Then I will go into the findings from the AK testing and how they relate. So when we then went down the test, what we found was the glutes on your right hip were weak. Adductors were your adductors were fine, which means they were tight. Then we found that the TFL was overactive, but blah, 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 whatever we found, right? And I would relate, that's why if this muscle isn't doing this, if this muscle isn't doing that, that's why it falls in. That's why that knee collapsed. Does that make sense? And your left leg hurts because instead of your right leg doing its job, this left leg is doing all of the work. Make sense? Okay. Yeah, and that's why when we talk about everything's related, pulleys and movements, where the pain is the victim, not the culprit, right? Okay. So then create your plan. Our care plans have 3 phases. One, the activation. This is more of a passive care phase where we teach the patient how to engage the specific muscles that they are not working well, right? So if your glutes are the issue, we're going to teach you how to engage your glutes. We're going to teach you how to engage your deep core stabilizers. We're going to teach you how to not use your hip flexors to do that. During this phase, we're going to decrease pain, increase control of your body and muscles, and start to increase range of motion. The next phase is the stabilization phase. This is passive care is going to start to decrease, and now we're going to add movement to the activation exercises. So say we do a deep core exercise to stabilize breathing, all that fun stuff. Now we're going to use a dead bug or a bird dog or like a DNS side rolling. Okay. Does that make sense so far? But also very, very specific, very controlled, and not exactly related to the related to the end goal, but not the movement of the end goal. Does that make sense? If my end goal is to throw a baseball, at this point, I'm doing rows, like cable rows with core engagement, glutes activation, blah, 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 whatever it is we need, lat engagement. Then we go, during this phase, our pain should be gone. We should have control, and the range of motion should be at ideal levels. Then we get into our third phase. This is where the performance part comes in, and this is where sports chiropractors that aren't doing big things tend to miss. Not trying to offend anybody, but it's because we're out of pain, we're feeling good, catch you later. This is what we do in this integration phase, though, is we take everything we've learned from stabilizing the muscles, moving around that, having full engagement, and then we get back to that specific movement. So in the case of the baseball kid, we're going to work on that pop move, right? We're going to start slow. So we're going to start slow. I'm going to toss him a baseball. I'm going to have him get up and get into position, nice and easy. And I'm going to say, squeeze your glutes, brace your core, make sure we're not dropping the knee to get up. Does that make sense? And then as we progress, we're going to get it to where now we're moving fast. I toss him a ball and he's all go down the field or second base. Make sense, guys? Okay. And generally, I give 3 options: 12, 12, 15, or 24, or 12, 15, or 24 visits to break into the 3 phases, right? So either 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or 8 weeks, or something like that. Sound good? Then, tips for success. Have as many tools in your tool belt as possible. Never be the smartest person in the room. Always, 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 always put the person first. Everyone is different. Everyone has different goals, desires, hopes, and dreams, and everyone wants to be treated differently. Always treat the person how they want to be treated, with respect, kindness. One of the first core value of Connect is seen, heard, and loved, and that's how we treat everybody. I think that on my soapbox for a little bit, I think the problem with the healthcare industry in general right now is that there are a lot of big business things that are about the bottom line, right? And so many people go to get help and they get turned away, right? They don't get assessed properly. They don't get the care that they need, and they feel abandoned. The unique position that we have as chiropractors, whether you're especially if you're cash based, is you get to treat people the way you would like to be treated, but also the way they want to be treated, and you get to hear them and you get to help them in ways that other people can't when their insurance companies dictate their problems, right? So we all in this room have a unique opportunity to truly help people in the way that they need it. Okay? Always put the person first. Keep it simple. People aren't going to understand all of the technical talk. That's why I keep it to things of 3, right? If you notice, everything's in blocks of 3. Always relate the findings to the desired outcome. And I have learned business. That's important. That was from the last talk. But always learn, just keep learning shit, right? Like you can never learn enough about your specific topic. And the more you know anatomy, the better you'll be. All right? Always, always, always keep learning. And anatomy is, if you know anatomy, you'll be all right. All right, so Q&A. I want to start by saying thank you guys so much for having me. This was a blast. I hope it was good for you guys. Again, my name is Dr. Aaron Goodsight, Connect Rehab Chiropractic and Performance in Cincinnati, which is about halfway between Petaluma and Santa Rosa. My number Instagram, email. Please take a picture of that. We are open for the right students to shadow and come develop their clinical skills. I know it's a little bit far, but if you guys want to do a carpool, what we could do is I'll block off my schedule. You guys come in, we'll treat issues. You can take videos, anything you want to learn, we are here for. I am also, if you want to come and do individual shadowing, understand how the business works, how we treat patients, I would love that. Um, Also, I am beginning the phases of hiring my first associate chiropractor. So if anybody is in the getting close to the end of school, interested in a job, potentially preceptorship, I got to figure out how to set that up. I would love to chat with you and grow from there. If you want to learn and treat people and have time and grow and really make a difference, this is the place for you, especially if you want to work with an athletic population. I have patients that range from 11 to 85, and they're all out doing exercise and cool shit. So, with that being said, thank you. What questions do you guys have? And I know we're low on time.
For the muscle testing, in the first initial session, are you doing all of them just to get a good like presentation stuff, or are you just going straight to whatever?
So I'm being intentional, right? So I only have an hour in that first initial consult or discovery visit, right? And it sounds like a lot, but we do the phone call. I want to follow up with them to know exactly, to make sure I got everything on the phone call. And then I also want to make sure I truly understand their hopes and desires for that visit because I want to treat people the way they want to be treated, right? And so, no, I don't do every single test. I have tried that in the past. It gets convoluted and people get confused, right? I think I was telling somebody earlier, if they're there for a hip and we do some testing and nothing pops with the shoulder or the neck, I'm not going to worry about it, right? I might do some lats. I might I'll probably do some lats because that's involved, right? But I'm not going to like dive deep. Just as if somebody's coming in for a shoulder or a neck, I might not do any of the ankle stuff, right? I might stick to like glutes, TFL, maybe TFL, hip flexors and core, right? And then go and look at the upper body. But it depends what I find on the squat screen, the rotation tests, and so on, right? Yeah. And there was another one.
So you said you're like in the Katati, Petaluma area. Do you also work with like undergrad students from like Sonoma State as well?
As far as like patients,
Yeah.
a couple. But so there's a girl. She's graduating. She is she's going to the police academy and had a knee issue. So I work with her. I worked with a guy on the baseball team there. But no, I don't work directly. Actually, I do a lot of work with what's the community college over here? No, out here.
Oh.
Chabot. I work with the Chabot soccer team. So, but yeah, a lot of the athletes are youth and like up and coming and like higher level youth athletes, and then like weekend warriors. A lot of dancers, a lot of like hikers, rugby players. Yeah. So.
Going a little bit over to our time now.
Oh, sorry about that.
Setting up the next segment. If you want to keep doing the Q&A, if you guys have more questions, Dr. G, feel free. I'm going to start setting up the next segment.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for your time. I'll be over here hanging out. Feel free to come up and talk to me. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was awesome, guys. Thank you. Yeah, and I'll be back here if you guys have any questions. Or I guess we can just here. They're just. Are y'all good to just do it here since? Oh, all right, cool. All right, what else you guys got since we're here? It's about an hour north. Like day to day. So I'm there Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from like 9 to 7. Yeah, same time frame. Just give me a heads up, and I can give you a better idea. I want to know, I'm there. I'm not gonna probably not for a new patient. I have a few like OG patients that have been around for a couple of years, but yeah, and then as if you keep shadowing, then we can get on new patients and all that other stuff. But yeah, just as like, build the relationship. But yeah, those days, and then hit me up, and assuming, people are cool with it. And I have a staff, so there's like all sorts of stuff, and we're in like a performance facility. So there's workout stuff going on all day. Like it's constantly moving.
Do you have overlap within like all of your appointments, or do you just like specifically do one person for an hour?
One-on-one 60 minutes with the doctor. I don't pass the person off to any assistants. No, well, I use machines, but like I don't, like I'm not gonna put you on like a STEM unit and be like, all right, catch you later, bro. Like my goal, like, so we didn't talk about business today, but business wise, my number one goal is to be as different as every other chiropractor around. There's a million chiropractors, right? A lot of chiropractors put you on a table, on a like a decompression or whatever, the roller table. They'll give you the heat packs, whatever, and then they go adjust somebody and come back. For me, my brain, I don't feel good. Like, oh, quick adjustment. Yeah. 15 minutes, I'm out. I don't feel good about that. So no, 60 minutes one-on-one. So if you guys end up, anybody here does end up working, that's that same style.
And then for like this whole stuff that you were doing, the whole muscle testing and all that kind of stuff, is that like every how often do you retest that? After how many visits or after?
The muscle testing?
Yeah, or just in general, like all that kind of stuff.
So I do a reassessment depending on which plan they get. So usually about halfway through, either at the end of every cycle or about halfway through. If they do a 12 pack, like a 12 visit, I'll generally go about visit 6 and then visit 12. If we do like our big plan, I'll do every time we should hit the end. So it's like every 8 weeks, I'll do a check in. And then, yeah.
And since you like to spend 1 hour individual with each patient, do you do them like once a week only, or like how do you?
It depends. Oh, but to answer your other question, I do muscle testing to evaluate so I can prepare to treat. Sorry, good? Sorry, thank you. Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. High five. Hey, Purple Pride, baby, let's go. Sorry, what was the last question? You asked me something?
But it is so good to see.
Yes.
As fellow sports chiropractors.
Yes.
Really, I mean, everything you said, I'm like, whatever he said. That is where we need to be. We need to know our anatomy. We need to own it, because that's what we do. We need to know our bones and the function of everything, right? That is the frontier we're standing in front of right now. We're so much better at it.
Yeah.
Even if you're from Life.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys again. I'm so sorry. Thank you. And I'm sorry. Yeah. Thanks. All right. I want to listen to what you guys have to say.